Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be a Valentine's Day baking and treats video, and I kind of included some gift ideas in this too, but I hope you're excited, and let's go ahead and get started. Starting off with the lovely Valentine's Day cake, I wanted to actually make the cakes ahead of time so they had time to completely cool before we made the icing, and I did actually make a smaller version of the cake. Instead of using regular cake pans, I used mini ones that I got at an Asian dollar store. If you saw that on my vlog channel, you would know, but yeah, I just did some mini ones because I didn't want the cake to be too big, but I thought I would share with you how I made the Oreo buttercream, and you can find this recipe on Pinterest. I will have it linked down below. Essentially, you just need all of the regular icing things like icing sugar, vanilla, some type of heavy cream, and Oreos, as well as obviously some butter. Again, all the ingredients will be down below, but the first step is to mash up all of your Oreo crumbs, so I just put mine in my Ninja bullet and blended those up. Now, to make any type of icing, you're definitely going to need a stand mixer or a hand mixer, something that can really blend it and make it fluffy. So I'm using my KitchenAid mixer, and I just started off with my first cup of butter. Once you have your butter in there, you can slowly add 3 cups of icing sugar. I used a half cup just so I had, the option to add them gradually, because you want to make sure everything is super blended and not too stiff. And also, of course, you want to make sure your butter was at room temperature, or else it won't blend and it won't make icing. So make sure those are all in there, and then once that is mostly blended, you can start to add your liquid so it starts actually forming the icing. You are going to be adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Of course, you can use any type you want. And then for the cream, the heavy cream, you're going to add 2 tablespoons. Again, I did mine 1 at a time, making sure everything kind of just went in gradually. Once everything starts to look like it's blended and peaking, of course, you do want to take off the mixer and kind of scrape down the sides just to get everything completely in there. Once that's all done, you can go ahead and add your 10 crushed Oreos, or add food dye, or pretty much anything you want. This is where you can customize it, but I did want to do Oreo buttercream, so that is where I added my Oreos into, and I love the look of this. Cookies and cream is like my favorite thing ever, so this looks amazing. Now moving on to the layering of the cake, here are my 4 cake layers. I actually used 1 recipe for 2 pans and then just doubled the recipe so I could have 4 layers. And you definitely want to make sure you grease and flour your cake pan, or else it'll be more difficult to get out after. I learned that one the hard way. And you basically just want to get your spinny or lazy Susan and put a little dollop of icing on that, and then put the cake on top just so it has something to stick to. And then I like to use a cookie scoop and scoop out about 1.5 icing rounds, I guess, on top of the cake, and that way you can do that for every layer so it has an even amount and each layer has the same amount of icing in between it. I find that using an offset spatula is super helpful when it comes to spreading out that icing and making it super even and taking off excess layers, that kind of thing. But once that is all even on that layer, you can go ahead and add the next cake layer on top of that. This was the one I messed up on. As you can see, it's kind of missing some, but we can definitely just fill that in with icing later. So don't worry, I'm not perfect at this. I honestly have only made 3 or 4 layered cakes in my entire life. Definitely not a pro at it. I just find it super fun, and I really wanted to do it in a video for you guys. So that is why I'm doing it, and I think it's really fun. Cake making is really relaxing. I love cakes and I love baking. So that is my quick little spiel on that. But moving on to the top layer, you do actually want to take the top layer and use the bottom of the cake as the top. That way you have a super flat surface to have the top of the cake to be super even. I know, just a little trick I know from watching a bunch of cake making videos. So yeah. And then following that, you want to cover all of the sides evenly in icing, as well as the top, and just make it look as pretty as possible. And this is all called the crumb coat. So what you would do is apply all of the icing around the cake and then stick it in the fridge to set for about an hour, and then take it out and add more icing. For me, I actually decided not to do that. I just wanted to have the 1 layer of icing, so I tried my best to get everything smooth and perfect the first time before I stuck it in the fridge. And this is what she looked like before she went in. Not too shabby. Little uneven, but that's okay. We love her anyway. And then when you have let that set for about an hour in the fridge, you can go ahead and take some candy melt that in the microwave with a little bit of coconut oil. And I'm gonna warn you right now, I poured this into a little squeezy bottle. You'll see in a moment. This did not work for me, and I almost ruined the entire cake. So I just suggest using a spoon and going very carefully. I was trying to be fancy. Don't try and be fancy. It didn't work out. So yeah, I'm just taking some hot pink candy melt and dripping that down the side. I just like the texture it gives this to the cake and also kind of covers up any imperfections you may have on the cake, which is totally fine with me. And as you can see, the whole bottle exploded and I tried to save it. Good thing we were going for a drip cake because it just dripped on the side, and then I worked very quickly to spread it all over the top. And you just want to make sure this is even because the candy melts do harden up after a few minutes. Another little tip is to actually tap out the cake after the pink has set. That way you don't have any air bubbles or anything and it lays smooth. And then once that is completely hard, or at least mostly hard, I went in with the buttercream again and I just put that into a squeezy little icing tube and did a little dollop and added a Valentine's Day chocolate on top, and I did about 6 of those around, and that is the completed decoration of the cake. Let me know in a comment down below what your guys' favorite Valentine's Day candy is, because I'm very curious. Do you like those conversation hearts? I do really like these ones. They're like crunchy, so they have like Rice Krispies or something in them. So good. But anyway, that is the completed cake, and let's move on to the cookies. Sticking with the cookies and cream theme for this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I made these chocolate chip cookies with Hershey cookies and cream bars in them. I've been wanting to make these for such a long time because that is definitely one of my favorite chocolate bars. So let's go ahead and get started. The original recipe actually added in Oreos, but I didn't want to do that. So again, I will have the recipe linked down below if you want to follow it. And yeah, you can go check it out. I'm not gonna, go into too much depth here, but you're gonna need some butter and some sugar, and then you're also gonna need some brown sugar, in which I replaced it with coconut sugar. And I also use whole wheat flour for my recipes, which is a little bit healthier. It doesn't taste as good, but it is a little bit healthier. So you pick and choose. I mean, you definitely don't want to have too many of these or eat the entire cake by yourself, obviously, but it's nice to indulge once in a while, and I think these would make such a good gift for friends. You can do a bunch of cookies and wrap them up in little treat bags. You'll see at the end. The bags that I share at the end are from Target if you're wondering, but I know that Michael's and some dollar stores will also have them too, and it's just a nice little gift to give your teachers or your best friends. I just think it's really fun, and I was always that person in school that wanted to give something out for Valentine's Day, because when you grow up you obviously don't give Valentines out for Valentine's Day, so this is a nice little option, and who doesn't like cookies? Pretty sure everyone likes cookies, so it's a great little gift option. Of course, you could always just make a batch for your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, or your sister or brother. That works too if you're wanting to give something special for Valentine's Day. So once I have all of the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients all mixed in, basically the base of the cookie dough, I went ahead and crumbled in the chocolate chip bar and also added some chocolate chips. I just thought I would add some. You can kind of look at the dough and decide what you want to do, and I definitely recommend leaving the cookie bar kind of a little bit chunkier. I realized that once I had done the first batch of cookies that I wanted to add some more in and just leave them in bigger chunks, so that is what I did. This cookie dough is definitely a little bit thicker, so I passed on using my cookie scoop and just went in with my hands, rolled the dough into a ball, and then flattened them a little bit. And then for the oven, you want to have it set at 350, and I put the cookies in for about 9 minutes. You can watch them to make sure the edges don't go, super brown, but they turn out really good and quite delicious, if I do say so myself.
Ooh, what if I said I'm sorry? What if I make a scene? Wouldn't that make you mine again? All I ever need. Didn't I make you laugh? Didn't I make you smile? Didn't I make you feel like you were happy for a while? I know that I've done.
Thank you all so much for baking along with me in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do end up recreating any of these recipes or making any Valentine's Day treats, send me a picture on Twitter or Instagram, because I would absolutely love to see. Even if you're making treats for yourself or having a girls' night or whatever you're doing for Valentine's Day, I hope it is a good one, and I will chat with you lovely people in my next video. Have a great day. Bye!